Okay, so now we have total and annual return. So these formulas are if you have an investment and it grows or depreciates a certain amount, you could calculate what your percent return is, whether it's positive or negative. And you can also look at it as an annual return by doing an extra calculation step. Now, there is a caveat with the formula from the book, is that this will produce the decimal. And if you want to answer it as a percent, you have to multiply it by 100. And the total return, it's in that formula already. All right. So remember, P is the original principal, A is the accumulated balance. So P is our starting amount, A is our ending amount. So the total return is the change in investment. So we're going to do accumulated minus principal over the starting amount, the principal, and then we'll multiply it by 100% to convert it to a percent. All right. So here, that 3,000 in a mutual fund, not yellow, is the principal. And then what we get, the accumulated balance, is 8,400. So the total return, let me just type, my handwriting's atrocious right now. All right. We have 8,400 minus 3,000, which is 5,400. And then we are going to divide that by 3,000. We get 1.8. And then we're going to times that by 100%. We get 180. That is horrible math to see. So because I had the equal signs, but it was no longer equal because I did a second calculation. So 180% is the total return. So 100% would mean we doubled. 200% would mean we tripled. We didn't quite triple because that would have been 9,000. So 180,000. 180%. Ugh. Now the annual return is a little bit more peculiar of a formula. So I have the A over P, the 8,400 divided by the 3,000. And now we're going to raise that to a fraction. So a fraction as an exponent is just a different way of writing a square root or a cube root or a fourth root, whatever the number of the root would be. But you can also use fractional powers to do crazy things like 2/3 or 3/2 or 7/5. Like powers can get all sorts of crazy. So here it is 1 over the number of years, which for this problem was 4. So I have whatever that comes out to, and then I'm supposed to subtract 1 from that. So we have 0.2936. That is the decimal. So the percent would be, okay, 29.36%. And that is the yearly increase, annual return, roughly. All right. So there's how we crunch those two numbers. Okay. Now the second example, you purchased shares in a stock for $2,000. 3 years later, you sold them for $1,100. What were your total return and annual return on this investment? So, did we make money? No. So we expect to get negative numbers here. All right. So that means P is 2,000. And A on this one is that 1,100. All right, so total return is the A 1,100 minus the P 2,000 over P over 2,000, because we want it as a fraction of what we started with, not the smaller number. And then we multiply by 100, so it's a percent. Negative 45%. That is our total return. Now the annual return. So now I have my 1,100 over the 2,000. So this is a fraction that is between 0 and 1. When I raise it to an exponent, if I was squaring it, it would actually get smaller. So since I'm like, well, it's not square root, it's a cube root. Since I'm cube rooting it, it will get bigger, but it still won't get bigger than 1. And that -1 in the formula is where we're going to get that negative value. But we still need that crazy fraction. It was 3 years, so to the 1/3 minus 1. And then I put that extra set of parentheses so I could just calculate to the 100%, the percentage right away. So negative 18.07 annual return on this investment. Not the best investment. Now the book has fancy definitions for 3 basic types of investment. Stock gives you a share of ownership in a company. You purchase the stocks, and then the only way to get your money back is to sell the stock. Price can go up and down, so you might gain, you might lose. A bond represents a promise of future cash. Bonds are usually issued by a government or corporation. So with the government, what you say is, hey, America, I'm going to give you $10,000, but you got to promise to give me back my 10,000 and interest on it in insert time frame here. So you are literally loaning the government money, but bonds usually use simple interest. So it's not a good use of the money, but it is a guaranteed return. Like it will go up, it will not go down. So you are guaranteed to, at the very least, get your 10,000 back and an IOU, maybe, and a tiny bit of interest. Usually for stocks, though, people buy mutual funds. You get a diversified portfolio, meaning if one stock loses, other stocks should gain. So overall, you grow your money. Of course, you have to have a large amount of money to start playing this game. So yeah. Yeah, let me tell you how I really feel. All right, I'm going to pause it and then come back and do the problems.